Most people think the Middle East is divided by religion, that Muslim countries naturally stand together and against Israel. But that assumption is quietly breaking. Today, countries like Saudi Arabia, United Arab Emirates, and Bahrain are moving closer to Israel, not publicly, but strategically. And at the same time, they are keeping their distance from Iran. This isn't about religion, because if it was, the map would look very different. So what's really driving this shift? Because in geopolitics, countries don't choose sides based on identity. They choose based on what threatens them and what protects them. On paper, the Middle East looks unified. Most countries are Muslim. Many share language, culture, and history. So it's easy to assume they act as a bloc. But geopolitics doesn't work on identity. It works on interests. And interests in the Middle East are deeply divided. Some countries prioritize stability, others prioritize influence. Some want economic growth, others want ideological expansion. And this is where the real divide begins. Because the biggest fault line in the region is not between Islam and others. It is within the region itself. To understand this shift, you have to understand Iran. Iran is not just another country in the region. It sees itself as a revolutionary power, one that doesn't just defend its borders, but seeks to reshape the regional order. Since 1979, after the Iranian Revolution, Iran's leadership has promoted a model where religion and political authority are combined, as an alternative to monarchies and Western-aligned systems in the Middle East. In theory, this vision goes beyond national borders. It emphasizes a broader Islamic political identity rather than a system defined purely by nation-states. But in practice, Iran does not try to replace every government directly. Instead, its strategy is more indirect and more flexible, not through direct wars, but through networks. In Iraq, it backs militias that extend its influence within the political and security system. In Lebanon, it supports Hezbollah, a group that combines political authority with military capability. In Yemen, it supports the Houthis, who have been able to challenge existing state structures. These groups are not just allies, they are part of a broader strategic approach to expand influence across the region through aligned actors who can shape outcomes locally. This creates something very powerful. Influence without direct accountability. It's not a traditional map of control, it's a network. Because Iran doesn't always need to act openly, its partners can operate within their own countries while still advancing Iran's broader strategic direction. For Iran, this serves multiple purposes. It expands regional reach, it creates pressure points against rivals, and it builds deterrence without the cost of direct war. This is not a strategy of territorial conquest, it is a strategy of influence. And the objective is not necessarily to create one unified Islamic state, it is to reshape the balance of power in the region so that governments are either aligned with Iran, dependent on it, or constrained by its presence. But for many Arab governments, this model creates a very different reality, because these networks don't just project power externally. They operate within states, they influence politics, they affect security, and in some cases, they create parallel centers of power. This blurs the line between state and non-state actors, and shifts control away from governments toward networks. So the concern is not just external aggression, it is internal disruption. Not invasion, but fragmentation. And that makes Iran less of a predictable partner and more of a systemic risk. For countries like Saudi Arabia and United Arab Emirates, the concern is not just military, it is political. Iran's model is revolutionary. It challenges monarchies. It supports movements that can destabilize governments. And that creates a deeper fear, not direct conflict, but internal pressure. There is also the sectarian dimension. Iran is predominantly Shia. Many Arab states are Sunni majority. But this is not just about theology. It becomes geopolitical when it shapes alliances, militias, and influence zones. Then there is the nuclear question. If Iran becomes a nuclear power, the balance of power in the Middle East shifts dramatically. For Gulf countries, this is not theoretical. It is an existential concern. So from their perspective, the question is simple. Can Iran be trusted as a long-term partner? For most of them, the answer is no. Now, this is where the shift becomes more visible, because historically Israel was seen as the primary adversary in the region. Politically, diplomatically, and in public perception, it was positioned on the opposite side of the Arab world. But today, that equation is changing, not because old conflicts have disappeared, but because new priorities have taken their place. Israel offers something that Iran does not: predictability. Israel operates as a conventional state actor. Its actions, even when aggressive, are usually tied to clear strategic objectives. Its responses follow patterns. Its red lines are more defined. And in geopolitics, predictability does not eliminate risk, but it makes risk easier to manage. More importantly, Israel and several Arab states now share a common concern: containing Iran's regional influence. That creates a quiet alignment, not based on identity, but on converging interests. Then comes capability. Israel is one of the most technologically advanced countries in the region, particularly in areas that matter for modern security: cybersecurity, missile defense systems like Iron Dome, advanced intelligence and surveillance. These are not just capabilities. They are force multipliers. For countries facing asymmetric threats, like drones, missiles, and proxy groups, this becomes highly valuable, because modern conflicts are no longer just about armies. They are about information, precision, and early warning, and Israel has built strength in exactly those areas. Then there is the economic dimension. Israel is deeply integrated into global technology and innovation networks. Partnerships with Israel open access to advanced research, startup ecosystems, high-value investment flows. So the relationship is not just about security, it extends into long-term economic transformation. For countries trying to diversify beyond oil, this becomes strategically relevant. So what emerges is a different kind of equation. On one side, an actor that introduces uncertainty through indirect influence. On the other, an actor that offers capability, coordination, and clearer rules of engagement. And in that comparison, what was once politically unthinkable starts becoming strategically practical. This shift didn't happen in isolation. The United States played a major role. For decades, the U.S. has been the primary security guarantor in the Middle East, but its strategy has evolved. Instead of managing every conflict directly, it began encouraging regional partnerships. This is where agreements like the Abraham Accords come in. Countries like the UAE and Bahrain normalize relations with Israel, not just diplomatically, but strategically. For the U.S., this creates a network, a balance of power against Iran without direct confrontation. For Arab states, it offers access to security cooperation, advanced technology, stronger ties with Washington. So alignment with Israel becomes part of a larger system. At its core, this is a clash of models. Most Arab governments are status quo powers. They prioritize stability, economic growth, and regime continuity. Their focus is not expansion, it is preservation. Iran represents a different model, one that projects influence beyond borders and operates through pressure points inside the region. That difference matters because for governments, the central question is simple. Does this relationship make the system more stable or less? And in that calculation, Iran introduces variables that are harder to control, while Israel, despite past conflicts, fits more easily into a structured state-to-state framework. So this is not a shift driven by alignment of values. It is a shift driven by alignment of incentives. But there is one more layer: public sentiment. Across much of the Arab world, support for Palestine remains strong, and skepticism toward Israel still exists. This creates a gap between what people feel and what governments do. So the alignment remains quiet, not fully public, not always visible, but very real. Because governments operate on strategy, not sentiment, and those two don't always move in the same direction. So why are Arab countries moving closer to Israel and not Iran? Not because of religion, but because of alignment, shared threats, shared interests, shared incentives. In geopolitics, identity shapes narratives, but decisions are shaped by something else: control. Control over risk, control over stability, control over what happens next. And in today's Middle East, the real divide is not between religions. It is between systems that preserve order and systems that disrupt it. And countries are choosing accordingly.